David's suffering now takes on an additional dimension. Not only has he been abandoned by friends and family, but his enemies pursue his destruction. They also that seek after my life lay snares for me, and they that seek my hurt speak mischievous things, and imagine deceits all the day long. Psalms 38:12. The verse begins with a blunt declaration. They also that seek after my life lay snares for me. The word seek means to pursue. These enemies want David's life. They hunt him. The phrase lay snares refers to setting traps. The word snares describes a noose or trap used to catch animals. David's enemies treat him like prey. They position their traps with care, waiting for him to stumble into their devices. This language reveals deliberate malice. These enemies do not just oppose David. They plot his death, and they plan their attack. They set their traps and wait. David continues, "And they that seek my hurt speak mischievous things." The word hurt means calamity or evil. These people desire David's ruin. The phrase "speak mischievous things" refers to destructive words. They slander David and spread lies. They damage his reputation with their tongues. David adds another detail. "And imagine deceits all the day long." The word imagine means to meditate or devise. The word deceits refers to treachery or fraud. These enemies spend their entire day planning deception. They think about how to trap David, and they craft lies. His enemies design schemes, and their minds never rest from plotting evil. The phrase "all the day long" emphasizes the relentless nature of their assault. From morning to evening, they devise treachery. They do not pause, they do not relent. Their hatred consumes their thoughts. This verse describes three forms of attack. First, they lay physical snares. Second, they speak destructive words. Third, they imagine continuous deception. David faces assault on every front. His enemies want his life, his reputation, and his peace. The biblical record shows this pattern in Saul's pursuit of David. After David killed Goliath and won the people's praise, Saul grew jealous. The women sang, "Saul hath slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s." 1 Samuel 18:7. From that day forward, Saul eyed David with suspicion. Saul threw a javelin at David twice while David played music. Saul sent David into battle, hoping the Philistines would kill him. The king even gave his daughter Michal to David as a wife, but only as a snare. Saul demanded 100 Philistine foreskins as a bride price, expecting David to die in the attempt. When David succeeded, Saul's hatred intensified. King Saul sent messengers to David's house to kill him. He pursued David into the wilderness and hunted David like a partridge in the mountains. Saul laid snares and spoke mischievous things, yet David survived because God protected him. David's words in this passage reveal the reality of spiritual warfare. The enemy rigs the fight. He sets traps and spreads lies. The believer faces an adversary who never rests from scheming destruction. The devil walks about as a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. He accuses the brethren day and night. He transforms himself into an angel of light, and he uses every device to ensnare God's people. Yet David does not write this psalm in despair. He writes it in prayer. David brings his complaint to God. He describes his enemies, but he addresses the Lord. This distinction matters. David knows his enemies plot against him, but he also recognizes that God watches over him. The snares of the enemy exist, but God remains sovereign.